What's good, YouTube? I had to fire shots at this DZ being like, nobody plays Chaos MaXx. Nobody. Well, I've got an ending board that proves you wrong. This is from rated matches where I did this not once, but twice. Opening turn. Each time I went second, I destroyed my opponent, summoning not only a Chaos MaXx Dragon, but also our Super Quantal Magnus, our Megazord, all thanks to Zaborg. Now, DZ's whole point of his video is nobody's doing this competitively, and before you go out rushing to buy your Mega Zaborgs, don't do it. This is not a competitive deck. This is purely for fun. DZ's standpoints in this video are actually really well thought out and made. It's not really the most competitive deck, but what this deck does is really, really cool, and I enjoy it. You're basically abusing Mega Zaborg and your extra deck in order to turn one pump out both a Magnus and a Chaos MaXx. That's a lot of damage on board, and I did it with different hands. I did it with Gofu, without Gofu. There's so much you can actually do with this deck, and it's super fun. You can also use Mega Zaborg to summon Zark and Exterio. Let's go ahead and just get into the deck and talk about that, because I think it's way more interesting to go ahead and look at this. So we've got one Gofu here because you still want Gofu. You want to open up your linked markers as easy as possible and make the Kotaker, although in this variant, you don't really need him as badly. We've got the 3 Erebus because when this deck bricks, it plays kind of like a bad Monarch deck. We've got Heroic Challenger 1000 Blades because with your Predaplant engine, you can go into MaXx Saber Invoker, bring out 1000 Blades, and then you're able to summon Mrs. Radiant. Then when you go ahead and use Brilliant Infusion, you send Trick Clown, and then you're able to get back your 1000 Blades again. This is very easy rank up options, and this deck is actually a little bit outdated, so you could update the extra deck to maybe include a Bora load or something like that. We've got triple Lone Fires because getting to the Predaplant engine is super important here. Trick Clown, as stated, for the Brilliant Fusion. We play 2 Cobra because drawing 1, we don't want this engine to just die or be dead. The triple Scorpio, kind of the star of the show, alongside Zaborg, the Mega Monarch. So if you haven't read this card is insane. It's amazing. Hoban actually, I believe, used this to top a YCS at one point when it was flying under the radar, but then people were like, oh, that's already a thing from the OCG. Well, Hoban's, I believe, was one of the first to top with it over here. You can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summoned, target a monster on the field and destroy it. Then if it was a light monster, both players send as many cards as possible from their extra deck to the graveyard, but no more than the original level/rank of that destroyed monster. If this card was tribute summoned using a tribute of a light monster, add the additional effect that you choose the cards your opponent sends. So you would basically be looking at their extra deck and forcing them to send. Well, there's a good thing that this deck consistently is able to put Trick Clown to the grave and back out so that you could tribute it, and then Zaborg's able to destroy himself, allowing you to send 8 from your extra deck and also control sending 8 cards out of your opponent's extra deck, effectively shutting off a ton of decks these days. So what are we sending with Zaborg? Let's jump to the extra deck real quick. Well, we send 3 Herald of the Arclights for our next monster, Chaos MaXx here. Sorry, Garnet. Our next monster, Chaos MaXx Dragon here. You're able to search out 2 Chaos MaXx along with the Chaos Form. When I showed this in Zodiac, people seem to not get it. They're like, I like how you have to hard draw Chaos Form and Chaos MaXx Dragon. Well, the whole point is you send these 3, then you also send 3 of these, and then I like to send a Magnus anyways, and then 1 other card that you usually kind of want to keep, but you can get rid of things like Link Spiders if you didn't draw into Gofu, or Invoker if you didn't use him. But the main point is that you're able to put 3 of these in the graveyard for a field spell called Super Quantal Mech Ship Magna Carrier and use its secondary effect. You're able to send this card from the field zone to the graveyard, then target 3 Super Quantal Mech Beast Xyz monsters with different names you control and or in your graveyard to summon a Super Quantal Mech King Great Magnus from your extra deck. And if you do, the targeted monster, attach the targeted monsters and their materials to it as Xyz materials. So you're able to basically summon him with only 3, which still has a somewhat relevant effect. 2 or more once per turn during either player's main phase. You can detach an Xyz material from this card, shuffle 1 card on the field into the deck. Non-targeting removal seems pretty nice to me. So you're able to summon a 3600 monster with non-targeting removal and a 4000 that does double piercing damage. Very often, these two together can end up being game, but it's fun. Like, you're not always going to get out Zaborg, but when you do, and you have the field spell, so you basically only need these two realistically to be able to happen, you're able to shove out a Chaos Max Dragon and a Magnus together. We'll get into the other variant of the deck in a bit. We've got two allures to help us draw more into our combos. I actually had a Yugi moment where I activated alert and drew into the two perfect cards on stream. 3 Brilliant Fusions, the Chaos form that you search out, Pantheism, triple Super Quantal Mech Ship Magna Carrier, 3 Tenacity of the Monarchs, 3 Terraforming, 3 the Prime Monarch, and an Upstart, because we're playing 39 for consistency. Now, what I do really like is that if you draw into your combo pieces, it's not like a bad thing. You just send an extra Herald for no effect. It's not like you get punished for drawing things, besides, you know, the Garnet and the Cobras, but we play, like I said, the second Cobra, so that doesn't happen. And we also have, you know, Seraph Knight in the extra deck. Now, going from the obvious, we go into this side deck. This is the other variant of the deck that people really seem to like to play. You're able to play 2 Predaplant Chimera Rafflesia. Now, Chimera Rafflesia, or Chimera Rafflesia, not really sure how you would say it. I think Chimera Rafflesia, I don't know. Chimera Rafflesia, yeah, there we go. You're able to play this, and when it's sent to the graveyard, during the next standby phase after the turn it's sent, you can add a Polymerization spell card or a Fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. This allows you to get Miracle Synchro Fusion. Now, what you can do with Zaborg, instead of sending these things, is send all the materials for Zark. A Synchro Dragon, a Fusion Dragon, an Xyz Dragon, and a Pendulum Dragon. You don't actually have to main the Pendulum Dragon. And then you have out yourself a Supreme King Zark. The thing I don't like about this version so much is that it takes a turn for its setup. You have to send them, wait for your opponent's standby phase, get off your Chimera Rafflesia's effect, and then get Miracle Synchro and do it during the next turn. I like this version because it pumps out turn 1 Chaos Max Dragon and also your Magnus together and allows you to do that all and try to OTK with it. This just seems a little bit slower to me. What you can also do, along with sending these 4, since you're only sending 4 so far, is send Naturia Beast as well as Barkion in order to make Exterio. I think this is super cool as well, because Exterio is one of those ultimate cards for shutting down your opponent. You can negate the activation of a spell or trap card and destroy it by removing from play a card from your graveyard, then sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Seems pretty darn good to have out, and if you're link summoning, you can manage to get both out. It's still the same kind of thing. You're hitting Zaborg, you're not having to get the field spell, and then you wait a turn in order to be able to do this. But with Zaborg, I really like the fact that you can just send the rituals. Maybe you could do something like summon a Zark in a Chaos Max Dragon. That's actually really cool as well. So what are some kind of hybrids you guys would make of this deck? And is there anything that I didn't say in this? Because these are the 2 main points of this deck floating around, but I think it's really cool that Mega Zaborg at any point in time can get you basically any ritual monster. You can get another copy of itself to meet the level requirements, get its spell, and get, you know, the ability to summon almost any ritual monster using Mega Zaborg. I don't think this busted open. It's a lot of work. If any hand trap comes down, it's a problem. I'm not saying it's competitive, but I really had a fun time. I was like 12 or 15 shots deep in the stream. We were summoning Mega Zaborg, and I won twice this way, summoning Magnus and Chaos Max. And then Zodiac took surprising interest in it. They're like, what is this board? What is happening? I like what's going on here. So being able to summon Magnus, 2K17 under Master Rule 4 alongside a gigantic fan favorite dragon, I couldn't be any more happy to be playing like this kind of a fun deck. And old me, honestly, competitive me would have looked and scoffed at this deck and said, there's no real viability for this deck, there's nothing you can be doing. It's just the fun of summoning a Magnus and Chaos Max Dragon to me, and to other people it's summoning Zark, and Exterio is super fun for them, getting these super crazy boards in 1 to 2 turns semi-consistently. I have to agree, I really like it. You can also play other stuff, I guess, like Ether, and you want to avoid things like Stormforth. and the other Monarch spells that stop you from accessing your extra deck the same turn. Although with Stormforth you could still summon Chaos Max Dragon, you're just locked out of your extra deck from doing your other cool shenanigans. So maybe you could like focus on a ritual version of this deck if you wanted it to be more competitive, but I definitely just enjoy the fact that this card right here is messing up people on Dueling Book, and it's super fun to me. What do you guys think? I really want to hear your thoughts. I've rambled on being a 2K17 scrub here enjoying this deck, but I don't think it gets much more fun than that when you're able to pull these kinds of things out of the hat and do it semi-consistently. There's not many more fun decks that summon big monsters like this and do it so well.